Hello, everyone. It's MEC, and today I'm going to be talking about reflecting on last year, 2022, and then what I want out of 2023. Whether you call that a resolution or not, it is what it is. I know some people don't like them. I'm kind of a little bit done with my entire Instagram feed being new year, new me, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Yes, I will get into why I feel weird about that phrase. Um, but yeah, I just really wanted to focus in on reflecting from last year and like using that to propel myself forward with my goals for this year because I think it is important to periodically stop and just be like, well, what the heck just happened? And how can I learn from it? And how can I either repeat that because you did great? Um, it's not always negative, or, be like, well, I should probably not do that again. Because otherwise, I feel like I find myself in a very cyclic pattern of living where it tends to be me working myself to the bone, me not recognizing that I push myself past my limits. Then I hit like a mental health, that's not, ooh, I don't feel good. Why don't I feel good? And everyone else is like, well, we saw you work yourself into the ground. And then, I recover and I'm like, I'm never doing that again. I'm going to treat myself so good. And then it restarts. So I would just really like to break that, cyclic habit that I think a lot of us found ourselves in, to be honest. But yeah, it starts with kind of reflecting on last year. Last year, I did a lot of work. It was, whether, I don't want to label an entire year as bad or good. It was challenging. I will say that. Emotionally, I think I've had the most. I've had two really difficult mental health years in the past 5 years, and that last year was definitely one of them. I will just say that. But I also felt like I grew a lot as an adult. Like your girl was adulting. I mean, I could go into the store, listen, 20 items in the cart, 30 minutes, done, gone. Pay my bills. I understand how taxes work to like more of a degree than I did last year. I feel like I did a good job at that. Last year, I am also a little bit better with asking for things that I actually want versus like prioritizing other people's um, lovely interests ahead of myself to the point where I'm literally self sabotaging myself to like please someone else. Got a little better at that. I think we all could become better at it, to be honest. Last year was a very growing year. It was very I've been referring to this Zuko arc, and I'll continue to do it because I love that show, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yeah, last year was very much, you're going through a metamorphosis, my nephew. That's from the show. I felt the metamorphosis. Okay, it was very. She wasn't cute all the time. Perhaps she was not cute most of the time, but she was there for a time, and that was 2022. But I think some of the things that I recognized a lot of behaviors in myself last year, both good and bad. I'll start with bad and then move myself to good, to end on a good note. In terms of negative behaviors that I found myself doing, I really do have a lot of self-deprecating humor, and I'm not saying that that's. We all love a good, well, I'm feeling not so smart jokes or something like that. But it would become to the point where I would use it as a crutch, even when I didn't mean to say like a joke. Like I would just automatically, if I mess up, oh, I'm stupid, that kind of thing. Oh, well, I'm just an idiot. Don't even worry about me. When like, uh, yeah, listen, mm, I'm not stupid. I'm not dumb. But it was kind of harrowing to see how easily those words fell out of my mouth so quickly. I was like, oh, I really didn't even think before I said that. That just became muscle memory. Okay. That disturbed me. Okay. Because when I was growing up, I had friends who would do this. I'd be like, oh my God, you're not stupid. Don't say that. And I guess somewhere along the way, I picked up that nasty little habit. And I think it was a means of dumbing myself down because there are many situations where, let's say, okay, I'm talking to individual number one. Individual number one says something, is talking to me as if they know something and whatever, we're having a conversation, and they mention something that is not 100% correct or could be just completely not right. That is false information. Rather than, you know, just address it and be like, actually, that's not true, blah, blah, blah. I typically would phrase it in maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm dumb here. But I think it's like this to like lessen the blow for the other person so that it didn't embarrass them. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that at all, but like I don't need to dumb myself down to correct somebody, especially in like as a default, right? There are some people who can handle kind of like that kind of feedback more than others and like, use your judgment, but it should never require you insulting yourself because you're right. Like, where did I learn that? And I think a lot of it actually has to do with being perceived as a woman in medical spaces or in like STEM spaces, which I happen to be in because I'm a medical student. And I just, I saw myself doing that and I was like, ooh, that is too second nature to me. You feel the need to like lessen the blow for the person so that they don't get embarrassed. But let me tell you, that is not reciprocated. Because the amount of times I have classmates who are willing to tell me when I am wrong, check me real quick without any sort of lessening of a blow is infinite. So why am I doing it for them? You know what I mean? Like I I don't mind presenting information in like an approachable way or like in a way that doesn't make people feel stupid because like there's no reason to. But also, I don't need to make myself seem stupid to present information. I'm smart and I need to respect my intellect. Like my job that I'm going to be doing, like, I'm grateful for this opportunity that I'm in medical school because like tons of people try to get to this point. And like I've worked so hard. So why am I going to belittle that with like telling myself I'm dumb? Yeah, that's something I noticed last year. Was not a fan of that. That's number one. Number two was um my motivation was straight booty. It was horrible. It was not good. I mean I get it because I had a lot of mental health struggles last year, and I think people who do struggle with um, mental health understand how difficult it is to lose motivation to do basic things. I mean, take a shower, eat food on time, wake up, get out of bed, put on cute clothes or like clothes that are clean. Those are basic needs that become very difficult. So now throw on, going to school, being a medical student, and then making content about your own mental health, which is lovely to do. Love this job I have. But it's also mentally and emotionally taxing, right? So I'm already in a spent place and I'm spending more of my energy. Yeah, that's not really a recipe for success. So I really want to figure out how to control that lack of motivation because it was kind of scary. I'm a driven girl, okay? People always are like, I don't want a girl boss anymore. I'll be honest. I'll be girl boss until the cows come home, mostly because if I don't keep myself busy, I get real, real bored. Now, I just have to figure out how to do that within moderation. Uh, but yeah, that's something that was very weird for me was losing motivation. That's not something that I've experienced before because I just been going, going, going until I got to medical school. Like that's really how I got here. So, um, and then I also notice it is really hard for me with people who are very close to me, like family, like partners, and like very close friends. It is hard for me to speak about my own feelings if I know my feelings may disappoint or hurt the other person. Now that sounds like common knowledge, right? But I'm talking about like things that are important to communicate. Okay? Like, oh, I was really hurt by the thing that you said. And I would avoid saying that, like, or, having that conversation like the plague. Not that anyone wants to hear any more plague jokes post COVID, but I mean, like, I really would not. I would avoid that for days. I would let that, like, stew, simmer would make a whole Campbell's chicken noodle soup out of it because I just did not want to even touch it with a 10-foot pole. And it's very important to communicate about those things. And I just would like, I think I hold people who are close to me on a pedestal, like their feelings on a pedestal, and I put mine below that. Kind of alluded to that earlier. But it's just kind of I was really disturbed by how even saying something that is not even, I mean, it wouldn't even be that disappointing to someone else, but I just viewed it as something that was so scary. And my therapist would mention it. I'd be like, oh no, I could never do that. No way. And then she'd be like, that's a basic boundary, my friend. That should not be that hard. Um, and if it is, should you be hanging around this person? And it made me question a lot of relationships that I had and whether I need to take steps back because I'm like, why am I expecting such a big blow up of a reaction from this person? And often when I would go and talk to them, it wouldn't happen. I just really would catastrophize the crap out of it, which is a nice little, I don't know, I can add that to my resume. Can catastrophize wonderfully. So those were 3 things I noticed about myself last year that I would like to work on. In addition to, I think I would like to become more confident in general. I really would because I'm going into a period of time. It's a big girl medical school. That's what I'm going into now, which is basically when I'm in the hospital, I'm on rotations and, I'm interacting with patients and other doctors and I have to, keep up and figure out what I'm doing. And I had 3 opportunities to, kind of like ease into that experience last year. And I was very timid. I mean, you can probably tell from my voice, I'm not a timid person, but I would go and put on my white coat and like I can interact with the patient just fine. The minute I'm trying to talk to another doctor or someone who is like above me in education, I would just freeze up, wouldn't be able to talk, would get like so flustered that I would have like tears in my eyes because like I was like, I cannot look stupid in front of this person. And that was really what it was stemming from. I have a really big problem with looking stupid. I don't, which is ironic because I just said that I like verbalize that I'm dumb. What a juxtaposition, ladies and gentlemen, and individuals who do not identify with a gender. I literally, what is life? So that's kind of interesting. Thanks for discovering that with me, I guess. But I really don't like looking stupid, and I think I just have to kind of get over myself in that regard and be like, you're smart. You can ask questions that are dumb. You can, or that you perceive to be dumb. I can make mistakes because that's how I'm going to learn as long as I don't hurt other people in the process. And I should be taking risks because this is my education. I deserve to be here. So you're going to catch me with a bunch of affirmations around my room on my phone because I need to start saying them as much as I say that I'm dumb. Frankly, I need to start telling myself I am smart as much as I say that, if not way more than I say I am dumb, or how quickly I say I'm stupid, but like I should actually be saying I deserve to be here. Okay, I do. What a concept. So yeah, those are some of the things I reflect upon that I did not like about myself last year, or that I would like to work on, I should say. Honestly, I'm going to add another one. The way that I view myself, my physical vessel, I don't tend, my thoughts about self, body, love, whatever, are probably a little bit nuanced, but not really. My thought is when you see those people who are like, oh my God, love your body. You just gotta love every part of your vessel. Look in the mirror. You just gotta love every imperfection, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, let me back up. If I'm judging something as imperfection, then I'm inherently judging myself. You know what I mean? Like I'm not immune. We're all not immune to society's expectations of what I should look like and what I shouldn't look like, and what I think is good, which is what is not good physically, whatever. And it's impossible to love your vessel all the time. I don't think it's possible to do that. However, I would like to like my vessel more often than not. And I would dare say I would like to love my vessel more often than not. It doesn't have to be all the time. I don't have to like go and like eat, pray, love myself into like the mirror and be like, wow, you look so beautiful. When I admittedly have, bedhead and, drool on my face and like, those lines that show up when you take a nap, like when you took a real good nap, like on your face, like I'm not really gonna look in the mirror and be like, about to like walk down the red carpet. Like I'm not gonna do that. Okay. That's just kind of lying to myself. However, I can look at myself and be like, you took a nice nap and you can clean up real good later and you look fine. Okay. That's what I would like, you know? But I think my acne got really bad about halfway through last year. Definitely stress related. Saw a dermatologist for it, still seeing a dermatologist for it. I did not like the way, I still don't like the way I look right now. The hyperpigmentation is really bothering me and my self worth. Also, like my body format, the way that I am distributed has changed a little bit, which is fine. I just would like to fit into the pants I like, to be honest with you. And so that's something I would like to work on, is just like liking my form, liking my vessel more often than not. And dare I say, loving it more often than not. Cool. Now that we focus on those things that I learned about me from last year, what are some cool things? I already listed some cool things about things like that I did well on. Like I told you, I was good at adulting, and I did a lot of mental health work, and I think I really made leaps and bounds therapy wise, which is litty. And what does that mean for next year? I mean, or this year, 2023 rather. The way that I want to focus on my goals is I want to have like overarching life goals that I kind of mentioned, like things that I'm working off of from last year. Like I mentioned, like those things that I'm like, ooh, I should address that. That's kind of like how I want like my soul goals to be. But in terms of like things I want to do, I'm really not trying to stress myself out. I think that New Year's resolutions and setting goals can be really a game of playing uphill. Like you are fighting against, every quote unquote New Year's resolution that you have thus failed thus far. I mean, a lot of them also are like super based on like weight and health and like this very specific definition of health that is highly westernized, to be honest, is very white and like Eurocentric. It's weird. And I don't love seeing all that content just like blow up right in the in January. I'd much rather like take care of like reflections on my soul from last year. So like that's really what I'm focusing on. But if people really want to like jumpstart, something in January, I tend to do it in like a 3-pronged goal. First goal is going to be, something you need to let go of. I've listed several things that I would like to let go of this year, but start small, right? For me, I'm going like directly into the clinical phase of my education. Like I said, I need to start pretending that I am extremely confident in my medical knowledge. Okay, not arrogant, but like that I know what I'm doing, and it's going to make me a better learner if I am willing to make mistakes, right? So I need to let go of this like non-growth mindset that I can't make mistakes. So that's one thing, okay? The second thing that you want to do is like foster something that you're already doing, that you do great. Something that you're already really good at, something that you're amazing at, okay? But you just want to get better at because you just want to. For me, that is podcasting. I really love the space. It is so fun to just like, I don't know, vibe in this way. It's very honest. I think a lot of content is not honest. I think a lot of content is a highlight reel. And so is this to a degree, but it's so much more authentic to me. And so I really want to get better at this. So that's one thing. And then third thing is something new you want to try that you haven't tried before. For me, or like something that that's out of your wheelhouse, I would like to get more into outdoorsy stuff, like hiking and kayaking and stuff like that. I really enjoy being outside, but I have very limited knowledge of outdoor activities. Just kind of because I feel like they were like a little bit gatekept when I was younger. Like they're like, girls don't do that unless you're in Girl Scouts. I was in Girl Scouts, but like, even then, being like a woman of color, you don't really see a lot of people doing outdoorsy stuff like you, who look like you. And like there's like an organization called like Black People Hike, I think. And there's also one called Hike Club, and they're for kind of encouraging POC humans to, or people of color humans, if you don't know what that is, to go outside and learn how to do outdoorsy stuff. And I think that that is so cool. So I'd really like to get involved with something like that. Those are my three things. And I just feel like that is a much healthier way of framing New Year's goals than like making a 5-prong list of like an idealized schedule or like lifestyle that you saw that you were trying to emulate that like doesn't, like naturally does not fit into your life, like the way that your life works. Like I would love to wake up at, people are like, oh, I'm super obsessed with waking up at 6 a.m. and I get to journal. And that means I also get to like juice and do yoga and then meditate and then eat my breakfast and then, start my day. Okay, like I gotta be in the hospital at 7. Okay, so waking up at 6 is not early. Okay, so I mean maybe I'll wake up, be able to like do my 3 pages of like thought dumping. I'm about to eat first. I ain't moving till I got food in my. I'm starving. Okay. Um, then I'm getting dressed. Trying to look over notes, and I'm walking to the hospital. Okay, that's what I got time for if I wake up at 6 a.m. Okay, so like me trying to like look at the whole quote unquote that girl lifestyle and like fit it into like a like make it a goal of mine to be that, it's not going to work. Like it's not going to fit into the way that, so I'm setting myself up to fail and be like disappointed. So I just would much rather make goals that are based on reflecting on things from last year that like did genuinely bothered me that I was doing or that I was engaging in or that participating, whatever, and focus on like personalizing my goals to like remedying those things that genuinely bothered me or brought me mental distress, and modifying those things, and then finding something exciting to do, and then finding something good that I want to foster in myself. I'd much rather have my goals be something about that than like looking at like an image of what people think health is, or health is wealth is, and then like feeling crap about it when it doesn't work out, right? So I'm giving you permission to do whatever you want with your New Year's goals, whether maybe you don't even want to do it and you just want to like reflect on last year and let those reflections guide you in this new year. You don't have to have like specific goals. I just urge you to like use reflection as your basis for moving forward in 2023, because like I said, I'm trying to stop doing this little hamster wheel dance. It'd be stressful and I'm tired of it. Okay. But also like I said, there's no reason to idealize something or a lifestyle or a concept that will inherently not even bring you that much joy, or like you think it will, but when it comes down to it, is it addressing the things that give you distress? Probably not. Because it's not coming from you. It's not coming from reflections on your own life. It's coming from like an idealized concept of what we think, that's what New Year, New Me January is. Which brings me, I love when rambles come together. I love it. Which brings me to the whole New Year, New Me thing. There was like a TikTok sound that was going around probably like 6 months ago, which at this point is probably ancient ruins. But it was like, basically it was saying like, oh, what happened to that old version of you? And then it was like, oh, I killed her, or something with like a British accent. Listen, don't judge me for that rendition of it. But like, or she's dead. And I was like, bro, I hope not. I hope not. When it's funny because when like an adult, when adults talk to me and they're like, how are you doing? And I don't really know what to say. My automatic go-to is, well, I'm alive. And they're like, wow, that's so morbid. I mean, I said I was alive. Would you rather me not be? Like, I think that that's not morbid at all, actually. My goal is to live. And I think that's kind of funny. But I get what they're saying at, like, are you just living? Um, I digress. What I'm saying is this like concept that you have to like get rid of your old self, unless you would just, I mean, unless you just really toxic. Like I don't know who you are, but I'd like to think that you're not, because I don't know, y'all seem to be very nice to me. But maybe. I just feel like you don't need to like throw your entire self away. Like, even if you decided, like, let's say you were toxic or you had like toxic behaviors that you were engaging in, you have reflected to the point where you want to change them. So clearly you're not as toxic as you once were. And I would like to like say that you're in all of your experiences, like this amalgamation of like what you have done directly feeds into who you are now. And so if you like who you are now, you kind of needed the past self that you had, even if it wasn't very fun to live in. Because trust me, I get it. I understand that. Um, I just, you know what I mean? I just don't love the concept of like, I have to hate my old self to like my new self. Ugh. That is why I don't like the whole new year, new me. That is why I don't like it. And I have like rephrased it as like new year, better me, which is like a, you know, at this point it's semantics, but I think it really gets towards the fact that like you are using your experiences to get yourself to a place where you want to be, hopefully, right? That's how you got here. You wouldn't be here unless you had experiences. Okay? You wouldn't. Or the experiences that you had. And so I'm not saying that to sugarcoat bad experiences, but what I am saying is that you don't have to throw yourself away to reach your goals, to be better, to like improve yourself. It's you really don't. You should be able to see yourself in that space. And that is how you grow to get there. If you can visualize yourself in that space, you don't have to become a whole new person. Um and yeah, that's how I feel about it. I feel strongly about it just cuz it just sets you up to hate yourself because you're not where your goal self is yet, but also you're like not liking your quote unquote past self, but your past self is who you are right now. So that like means you inherently just don't like you. I don't like that. You should like yourself because you're cool, gosh darn it. Okay. And that's how I feel. So I'm going to wrap this podcast up for this week, but this is what January will be like. I'm going to be reflecting on some of those things I talked about earlier that I really, really like to improve about the way I've been thinking or the way that I've been behaving in the past, in 2022, and like letting that guide me into 2023. That is how I'm going to frame my New Year's resolutions, okay, this year. Based on personalized reflections about what made me feel not great last year and how I can like work to improve those things and hopefully get rid of them. And then that way, or at least like grow, and then I can like be like, wow, look, I directly addressed my own problems. Wow. Like, I just think that that'd be so cool. And if, like I said, if you need some more structure than that, I totally love the whole three-pronged um, let something go, foster something that you already are doing that's great, and then find something new if you really need like a strong structure. Um, yeah, and if you would love to kind of interact more with this type of content, I am a Pinterest creator and love saying that because Pinterest is like one of my favorite things. I love like making diverse content on there, just like showing that like wellness can like look inclusive and like be like whatever it needs to be. So I'm also doing a lot of content about what I just talked about on Pinterest. So I'll link that also in the description box. But otherwise, I hope that you had a good first week, even if it was a little rough, because you're awesome. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit later, okay? I'll see you next week. Bye, y'all.